We have today an illustrator and an author who I am lucky enough to be friends with of the Frazzled series. She wrote these three books, and not only did she write them, she illustrated them. So I just want to give you a sneak peek on what a page in the Frazzled book looks like because it's so cute. So parents and kids, check this out. Like, the entire book is illustrated. So every single page has these super cute pictures. Well, but before I get too much into it, I want to bring on Booki. She's connecting.
Hi, can you hear me all right?
I can hear you fine.
Okay.
Everybody else, give a thumbs up and drop in the comments your kids' names so that we can say hi to them as well.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here. This is really fun. I've never done an official live thing before on Instagram. So
I know. Well, neither have I. So I'm in the same boat as you. But we'll have fun with this together.
We're like two old grandmas too. It's like, how's technology? What is it? How do we do this? But we're gonna make it work.
We can see two faces at the same time.
I know. What? People are hearing what I'm saying. Okay. But anyway.
Okay, so looks like Beckett, Jasmine, Megan, Josh, Adalia, Esley, Kevin. We have a lot of friends on here with us.
Hey, that's so exciting. I'm glad to sort of be with you all and with you, Alyssa. This is really fun. So like my name is Booki Vivat, and I am the author and illustrator of the FRAZZLED series. And so because I'm coming to you live and I'm stuck at home, I figured I would kind of show you a little bit of my home. Because, you know, like everyone always wants to know like where the magic happens, but it's not actually that magic, but I'll show you anyway. So this is my desk. I don't know if you guys can see it. And
so cute.
A little tour of my desk. You know what I've realized? A lot of people want to know, like, is this where you can only work here? This is like a special place. But actually what I'm realizing is that I do work at my desk a lot, but I also can work in other places. And I think for me, it's less important physically where you are and more about like mentally where you are and like getting ready to like be creative. And so like this is like a nice space that I have to work, but I also just like you know, making things anywhere. So yeah, so here's some fun things. You know, obviously reading is important. This is my sister, some like fun buttons I have, and this is where I'll be drawing for you. So I'm just gonna get set up right now, and if you have like activity sheets, right? I think some of you might have activity sheets, or you have paper and pencils. You can like draw along with me. Let me clumsily try and.
So, Booki, is this where when you say you work here, is this where you draw all of the pictures that you've drawn for this book? Has most of that magic happen at this desk?
Actually no, because when I was doing this, I didn't have this desk. So I didn't have a desk at all because my room was too small. So I actually did most of the art and writing for my book on my bed or, you know, in the living room or at a coffee shop. And some of the art I've done in some weird places, like I had to draw in an airport once. I've drawn on the beach. I've drawn in the park. You know, I think, which is why I think for me, it's less about the place where you're drawing and more about just drawing, just doing the work and just trying to get into a place where you're excited about what you're creating.
That's so cool.
Everyone can meet.
Somebody,
is this a good setup?
yes, I can see, and it looks great. So somebody was asking, where can they find those buttons?
So these buttons, actually, these are my publisher made them for me, but I don't have very many left. So I've given them out randomly, and you can't actually buy them. You just kind of have to find them in the wilderness, I guess. These are some of my like last few ones.
Fun. They're so cute.
But
Beckett says he has his pencil and paper ready. He's ready to draw.
Yeah, so is everyone ready? Because I figured because this is such a like such a mad time and such a crazy time for everyone, it's good to kind of, for me, I really use like emotions to or drawing to help me process through my emotions. And so I figured we would kind of like learn how to draw some emotions. And for me, the two things that are really important when you're drawing emotions is getting the face and getting the body posture right. So for example, like I think there's also not one way to draw like certain emotions. I think, you know, when you think of like happy, you think of like just a smiley face, like in emojis. But I think with art, the great part is using that as a base and then trying to find your own way of showing that emotion. So for me, I really like drawing happy faces, like with a really big mouth. That's just how I've always done it. Like, for example, sad, if I wanted to draw like sadness, I would maybe draw like not just a sad face like in the emoji, but I would maybe draw kind of like that. Also, you can add eyebrows, which makes it a little bit, gives it a little extra thing. I don't know, what other emotions should I draw?
Angry? So would you say that kids can go ahead and start following after these emotions? Should they copy them?
Yeah, I think you can. The thing about this is like you can kind of draw like, so for example, this is how I like to draw angry, but I think there's a lot of different ways to draw angry. Like, let's see, if I was to draw, I don't know, Alyssa, what's a good emotion?
Confused?
Confused. When I feel confused, I like to, that's how I feel with these like swirly eyes.
Oh, that's so cute.
Now, but I also think that confused can also look for me like that. You know, I think there's a lot of different ways. And so a lot of where I kind of like have decided this is what this emotion looks like for me is just about trying it out. So like with scared, I like to draw really like big eyes like this. Like that would be my scared. And so I think that it's about figuring out for you how you want to interpret that emotion. Cause I think like
someone said worried.
Ooh, worried. Oh, I think for me, worried, I like to go like with eyebrows like this. And I think I would go like this. And then maybe sort of like, depending on how big I want it to go, I could go like small worry, like that. Or I could go sort of that kind of worry. There's like a lot of different ways. So like using these bases, and I think that we all know emojis. I love using emojis. And so seeing what an emotion is in an emoji form and then trying to figure out your own way of expressing that is kind of like, that's kind of how I started. Because for me, sorry, what were you saying?
Seymour Faith says she's mind blown.
I'm glad. It's not as difficult as you think. I think it starts from really simple things. So for me, this is kind of where I started with a stick figure and kind of going from stick figures and trying to figure out my style from this was kind of how it started. So I actually brought a throwback to show. This is like one of my old planners. This is from when we knew each other. This is when I started, but you see there's like not that many, there's like few drawings, but it kind of just started from here. And you can see that like my pictures are all like stick figures. Like I don't know really, I don't know how to draw noses. They're hard. And so I just didn't draw noses because I hadn't figured it out. I didn't know how to draw hands yet. So I think that like, if you look at this kind of way, like I think people think of stick figures as being really basic and boring and they don't consider it art. But for me, stick figures is kind of how I got into art. And from here, figuring out how can I show the most emotion, how can I show the most action with just this really like basic shape and basic figure. Yeah.
That's awesome. So Sharon, her daughter Megan, suggested for confused, you could do like one eyebrow up and one eyebrow down.
Yes, as soon as you realize eyebrows, this is also like skeptical. Maybe like, I don't trust you. I love using eyebrows. I just think they're fun.
So cute.
But you know what? That's something that I started recently. I didn't use eyebrows for a really long time.
Oh.
So art, for me, I think when you approach art, it's all about doing it a bunch of times and then just figuring out what you like to see and what you think works for you and just being open to learning new things. It's less about getting it specifically right and more about just trying to capture what you're trying to, like, a feeling trying to communicate. But so I actually heard that we have a few suggestions for things to draw, because right now it's just a head, but I feel like in order to really get these emotions across, we should show you a whole scene and show you the body and show kind of the whole process, right?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So
Okay, I've never drawn faces so cute.
oh my gosh, those are super cute.
So simple but cute. I love that.
Thank you. So okay, so for first emotion that we asked for the Gwinnett kids to we asked for suggestions, I think was confused, right?
Yeah. So what makes you feel confused?
Okay, I loved all the suggestions that we got. And so rather than just doing one thing that confuses us, because there were so many great suggestions, I figured I would try and just like mush them all together. I don't know if you guys can see my hands, but this is my mushing of together. It is. I'm going to try and put together as many things as I possibly can to show confused. So I'm going to start with my character, Abby Wu. Is this the bottom of the page? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
You can right here, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So we already talked about how I draw her face. So let me start with that. So here we go with her head. And I draw confusion like this because that's just how I feel like internally when I feel confused. Like obviously my eyes don't look like this, but art is kind of, you can do whatever you want. And that's why I love it. So I'm going to draw her kind of scratching her head. Here's her arm.
And if you're just now joining on, go ahead and grab a piece of paper and a marker, something to draw with, and join in on the drawing that Bookie's doing.
Here's her other arm because I'm going to have her touching something right here. And then I feel like with confusion, I'm going to draw her kind of like sitting like scrunched up because, you know, I think that kind of captures this feeling of being confused. And I think I'm going to go with a little kind of side mouth for this one particular one. And so now that we have her being confused, I think I'm going to start drawing some of your suggestions. So one of the suggestions that I loved was Zoom call schedules for school. And I'm no longer in school, but like we talked about, Alyssa and I are not good with technology. We're like, we don't get it. And that's, so I can relate to that suggestion. So here's gonna be the kind of like the computer or the laptop keyboard. Get some little buttons here, and like these buttons are not perfect, and I think that's okay because that's kind of part of it. So here's gonna be the screen, and rather than just having it very static and having it just a flat people on a screen, I'm going to kind of take liberties with my art and kind of show something that's not actually happening, but that is kind of going to capture the feeling. So, for example, so another great suggestion that we got was actually from a few of you. You all said that math is really confusing. So
Confusing.
It's very confusing. I don't know if I remember math at all, but I'm going to draw my old math teacher who I'm not going to say anything bad. I don't know who's listening, but let my art speak for itself. This was what my math teacher looked like.
So if Bookie's math teacher's on there and they go, wait, that looks very familiar.
All fictional, actually. Doesn't make sense.
So Bookie, we have a request.
Oh, yeah.
We have a request that can you go a little bit slower?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Also, don't worry too much about copying what I'm drawing. This is just kind of like a demonstration of what I am going to do for confused, but you can also draw your own scene of being confused. So here's how I draw his hand. And he has a pocket right there. And I'm going to have him kind of holding a piece of paper. So it's all scrunched up because maybe it was like a bad test or something like that. And so because tests are hard. So here's like one screen in the Zoom call. And so another really great suggestion that I read was being told to do more than one thing at a time. And I definitely relate with that, because that is the most confusing thing, because you're constantly questioning, like, what do I draw? So rather than just being confused about math, let's also have another teacher on this call. And so I'm going to draw another teacher here. And maybe she's looking at him like, she's also kind of like, why don't you pay attention to my class? You know? And let's have her coming out of this screen. And maybe she'll be holding a book, because maybe this is like your English teacher or something. I loved my English teachers. They were great. They were a big reason why I like love books so much, and why I love to like write. Ooh, so this kind of looks like a weird book computer, but that's fine.
Bookie, did you always know you wanted to write?
I liked writing, but I honestly didn't think it could be something that was a real job. I didn't think I would ever do it professionally. I just thought that I would do it kind of as a side thing to get out my creativity and to just tell stories, because I like telling stories. But yeah, I never really thought about what it would look like to be a writer as a job. So it's kind of strange for me now. So let's see. So let me think about what other things that were suggested. Oh, another thing that I saw, another suggestion was someone's baby brother, which is funny, because you're right, babies are confusing. It's like, can you just tell us? They can't talk, so it's kind of confusing, because it's like, what do you want? So let me draw a brother here. He's just 2 teeth coming in, and maybe just 1 little hair coming out, because babies are mostly bald, a lot of them. And maybe the baby brother is like screaming.
So cute.
So that's like a baby, kind of like, there's a baby brother.
Oh, look at its teeth.
And then one was just like this whole situation, like coronavirus. So let's also draw,
Someone wrote Mad Bunny. Seymour Faith said it looks like a mad bunny.
It looks like a mad bunny. So we'll draw the coronavirus here. So this is like Abby being confused by all these different things that she's being told to do. I also think we need to make sure that this reads as math, because I know that this is my math teacher, but you, as the person who's looking at this picture, if you're just coming in now, you have no idea this is about math. So we got to make sure we see math. So let's put math all right here. So some things that I would think for me represent math are like numbers. So let's draw like the number 1, the number 2, the number 3. Other things that are math, pi, half. Other math. I don't know math, so this is kind of hard. E = mc squared. A squared plus b squared. Like I don't even remember what that is.
Why are there more letters than numbers there? What are some math things that our Upstreet kiddos are learning right now?
Oh yeah,
Maybe
what are you guys learning?
Like multiplication and division. Fractions, like 1/2, 1/4.
Yeah, let's do 1/4.
Fractions, yeah. Sharon says fractions.
Also, like, I don't know if you've done this yet, but geometry was very confusing to me. Angles, all that stuff. So now we definitely have like that. This is math, and this is really confusing. And I think that we're almost done. And I think for me, so do this, know this. Let's have him saying, wah, because a baby.
Because it's a baby.
Like, what do you want? Are you hungry? Did you poop? I don't know. And then, how about the coronavirus being me too? So she's being confused by all these things. And so I think for me, the greatest sign of confusion, and also she's not feeling great. So let's put her in this kind of black bubble. because I always like when she's having like bad emotions or emotions that are really hard, I like to kind of show there's a lot of stuff going on here. So we want to really focus on her. And for me, what the way I like to show that is to kind of put her in this like spotlight in this like black bubble of doom sort of thing. And oh, the greatest symbol of confusion, obviously for me, is this. So there we go. There's Abby.
Ah.
Ta-da!
Wow, you drew that so quickly and it looks so good.
Thank you, thank you.
So
But
how
yeah,
old were you when you first started like practicing drawing like that?
ooh, I think that it's hard to say because I've always just drawn stick figures, but I didn't take any of it seriously. And I think that is kind of how it's been for a long time. I think I've always just drawn and doodled, and I would say like in middle school I drew a lot because I drew with my friends and we would like draw stick figure like comics to each other and tell stories about our teachers and our friends. And so it kind of started from there. And I didn't really think about drawing seriously until much later. I was just doing it kind of as a fun thing to get out how I was feeling.
So
Um,
cool.
so should
What
we
are
go to the
your
next?
favorite?
Oh, sorry. Let's answer another
Allison
question.
asks, what are your favorite things to draw?
My favorite things to draw are my character Abby Wu, or AKA me. So Abby Wu is very similar to me, and actually a lot of things that happened in Frazzled were things that are inspired by my like real life, and things happened to me in middle school. So I really like drawing her, especially when she's feeling super frazzled or really a lot of big emotions. I think that those are the times when I feel like drawing is a way for me to process how I'm feeling. And so that's like probably my favorite thing to draw because it's both helpful to me and and then you get a little picture out of it.
So cool. Megan wants to know, when is your Frazzled 4 going to come out?
There's actually no Frazzled 4. There's only three series, but you know what I think is will be kind of fun. That is fun is because I've been asked about more stories in the Frazzled world. I think it would be really fun I think it's really fun when people take stories that exist and then make their own stories out of them, like fan fiction. Like I used to do that all the time with like Harry Potter and Sailor Moon and the stories that I loved growing up. And so I think that I would love to see people's interpretations of new Frazzled ideas. I think that if since I'm not writing a Frazzled 4, I would love to see fan fiction Frazzled 4. I think that's a secret writer dream of mine.
That's awesome. Somebody asked, do you draw animals?
Ooh, I do try. I'm especially good at, I wouldn't say I'm good, but I've drawn a lot of cats because in the second book, um, there were a lot of there's an evil, spoiler alert, there's an evil cat that is adopted into her family. And yes, so I have a lot of practice drawing cats. I think that I don't draw animals as much, but I'm learning and practicing. So do you think we should draw another one? Another emotion?
Yes, let's do more.
Okay, so this was confused. And so the other one that we asked for was scared. And I'm very excited about this because I really, I think, like I told you, I really like big emotions and I like drawing big emotions. So for scared, I'm gonna, like we said, I'm gonna start with my main character and how she's feeling. And I'm gonna start with her head. And then I'm going to draw her, I think I'll draw her like falling down or something, because I think like I think of like in a nightmare, which was one of the suggestions, when you're like running away from something and you like fall down and trip, and then the thing that you're scared of is gonna get you. Like that's what kind of the feeling that I want to evoke right now. So I'm gonna draw her eyes first. So when I'm scared, this is how I feel in my head, in my heart. my heart of hearts. This is my fear. And so I'm gonna also draw her with a really like big, wide, screaming mouth, because this is also how I would probably react in a dream if something scary was chasing me, or not dream, nightmare. So here's oh, that's her fingers, and she's got some kind of sort of messy hair. She just doesn't have time to comb her hair when she's scared. And then maybe I said was going to show her tripping, so maybe this is her like after she's just tripped. She's fallen on the ground, and then we're going to have her arm kind of over here to say like, no, don't get me, to whatever is going to be right here, which is where we're going to put this scary thing. And like I said, I'm going to have her sort of in this black bubble, because I know already from your suggestions that there's going to be a lot of stuff going on here, because there's so many different suggestions. I don't think I can choose just one. I think I gotta incorporate as many as possible. So we want to make sure we are focused on her. One of the suggestions that I loved, speaking of animals, was rats. Oh, rats are scary. I don't know if you know this, but I live in Brooklyn, and there are lots of rats on the subway. So I'm gonna draw a kind of, I don't really know if I know how to draw a rat. Let's draw a rat with like some evil teeth, and maybe
that's a huge rat.
If you saw the rats in New York, you'd be like, yes, it's accurate. So I'm also gonna draw the rat with like little tiny arms, because I think there's something weird about like a big body, tiny arms, you know? And his body's gonna be really big, and then maybe tiny little legs, because he's like a fat rat, because he's a New York rat, so he eats a lot of junk food.
Oh gosh.
Like pizza rat. So here's and so here we have the rat, and maybe it's also like, I don't know. We'll draw its tail. So actually, you know what would be fun is, because some of the other suggestions that I read were what are the other suggestions? It was like I think someone suggested like monsters. Monsters,
yes,
and snakes was a good suggestion. And I feel like we should try and make like a mutant rat, right? Like
okay.
So we have our basic rat, but let's make him a bit of a mutant. And you know what? Like, let's make him more of like, I'm thinking like maybe we like make him like a zombie rat. So maybe he has like some gross
zombie
like things.
rat.
And maybe he's got some like that's like his body broken up. I don't know.
Oh,
but he's not in good shape.
How are you making a zombie rat look cute?
So maybe some of these are cute. And instead of just his tail, because we had snakes, I hate snakes. I'm gonna make his tail into a snake. So maybe that's a snake. This is the bottom part of the snake's face, and maybe we can. That looks kind of like a snake, right?
Yes. A very scary snake.
So it's like a tail that becomes a snake. Like that's a monster.
Oh,
That's like
yeah.
stuff of nightmares. So, and we're also gonna make him maybe like have spikes down his back, so he's like a zombie. Oh, maybe he's kind of like a unicorn zombie. I don't know what that is. I'm going too far. Okay, back on track. Scary. Scared. She's scared.
Allison is saying this is like a weird, scary nightmare.
Yeah, which is exactly what we were our
going
goal.
for.
So I'm glad that this is working out. So that's a scary snake. What else? So right now we have a lot of space right here. So I think we have tons of room, and I think we can definitely add some more scary things. So I'm gonna like pull from some of the other suggestions. Oh, I actually drew this.
Someone said like thunder. Scares
yes,
them.
thunder. Okay, so let's do. Thunder is hard to draw because it's a sound, but because it's a sound and thunder comes along with other things, I think we can draw we should draw like lightning, and because lightning and thunder kind of go together. So hopefully this will like evoke the same kind of feeling. And I'm gonna switch to a new pen because this one's dying. And so we got a lot of space here. So I'm gonna draw another thing that I thought was I felt like that really resonated with me, which was the coronavirus, and just a lot of kids were saying that they were really scared that their like family members were going to get it, or that they were going to get it. And I definitely identify with that. I think it's a really scary time. So we're going to, rather than just showing coronavirus as like a blob, we're going to make it into kind of like its own sort of monster. Because I think that like making things that are intangible into monsters is a kind of good way to show like her being afraid of something that we can see and like she can interact with. So like sometimes I'll draw her being scared of homework and I'll make the homework into a person, you know? So I think that's a good way. So this is her being scared, and maybe to like cap it off, we'll have her screaming and just being like, ah.
Someone said a dragon emerging from a sewer.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. I don't know if we have enough space for a dragon because dragons are huge, but we can draw this as a sewer. So here's, it kind of looks like poop, his pooping, but that's not what it is. I'll draw a sewer grate to show that it's not him.
So a fun question that we got from a family a few days ago for you was, when you were little, did you ever draw anywhere you weren't supposed to?
Yes. I used to draw, actually, you know, I don't know if we weren't supposed to do it, but I don't think it was encouraged, was on my at school, we have to cover our books with like book coverings to protect it. And I would cover my friends and I would cover our books with, what's that called? Like brown paper bags, you know? And then it was just there's so much space. So what do we do? It looked kind of boring. And other people had like really fancy coverings. And my friends and I wanted to make ours more interesting. So we would draw on the coverings, and we would just draw all over them. And I wish I had kept them, but those were, I don't know if we were supposed to be drawing in class when we're supposed to be listening to our teacher, but it was kind of a fun thing to do. I mean, probably should have.
So how has drawing helped you express your emotions?
I think that sometimes, I think for me, the process goes that I feel the emotion and I want to draw it out. And so I decide what I'm going to draw, and then I channel all of those feelings into my drawing. And so in the process of drawing it and like bringing it out, it's almost calming, because I think that it feels like I'm putting all my feelings into the drawing, and then I can kind of like let it go. So that's kind of how I feel like when I feel my most stressed out, or, you know, when I feel like really big feelings. I think by drawing them out, it's kind of a way to show other people, like to present how I'm feeling, and then kind of let it go too. Like I actually can show you some of my planner now. Like, so this is my planner now. But when the coronavirus first started happening, I was feeling really like a lot of feelings. And I think that by drawing out how I was feeling about everything that was going on, it really helped me really helped calm me. So like this one, I don't know if you could see it, but I was like, get me out of here. And I definitely felt this. But then once I drew it, it made me feel a lot better.
I bet it helps you like identify what you're feeling, but also to just like let it out, express it.
Yeah. Which is why I love art so much.
That's so cool. So do you think that the character Abby Wu, how do you identify with the character? Because Abby Wu has lots of big feelings.
Yes.
How do you feel like you're similar to her, but also how do you feel like you're different from her?
I think I'm very similar to Abby Wu because she's like kind of loosely based off of who I am um and like my sort of how I grew up and being a kid and kind of I remember I put her in middle school because that was the first time that I felt like I was really frazzled and I didn't know what was going on and I felt like everybody else knew how to handle middle school and how to handle their emotions and everyone had it together and I had no idea and I was the only one and so I remember feeling that way and I basically channeled that feeling that I had when I was in middle school and sometimes a feeling that I still have now and I just put it into that character of Abby. So a lot of the things she feels are similar to things I feel, even now. So when she's feeling frazzled and she's not sure like what classes to take, I think that's very similar to how we feel as kids, as how we feel as adults. When you're thrown into new situations, you don't know what's going on. I think that's a very relatable feeling at all ages. So Abby and I are very similar. I think the ways that we're different are pretty small, but I think Abby is a little more um, she's a little more proactive. Like in the first book, she kind of acts on her feelings and she starts like she's unhappy with the situation at lunch and she starts an underground lunch revolution. And I think that is something that I would never have done when I was younger. So I think Abby's a bit bolder than I am, which is kind of fun because I get to live out things that I didn't do in when I was young in through Abby. Yeah.
Alex wrote, she's like Lizzie McGuire's subconscious girl.
Yes. Oh my God, I love Lizzie McGuire. Oh,
Me too. Yes, let's do a happy one.
happy. Yeah. So this is scared. Scared. We did scared and confused. If you missed it, this was confused. This was scared. There's a lot of dark. There's a lot of heavy things in here. So let's go a little happier and go with happy, which is funny because I think happy, the emotion of happy had the most similar responses. And so a lot of you suggested friends and family. A lot of you suggested your dogs. So I'm going to kind of try and channel that into here. So I'm going to, instead of drawing Abby at the bottom this time, I think I'm going to draw her kind of at the top of the page. And another suggestion gave was going on a boat. And I don't know. I haven't been on a boat for a while, but I think I'll draw one. I think I'll draw one up here. Kind of looks like that, right? And we'll draw a sailboat. So, and then I'm going to draw Abby on the sailboat. So let me make sure I draw her the right size. So she's going to be here with her head as we start. And then I'm going to draw her kind of smiling really big because that's when I feel super happy. Like this is the kind of feeling that hopefully you can get from my picture.
Like that.
Yes. And let's have her holding onto the boat because boats are rocky. Don't want to fall off because then she wouldn't be so happy.
We're having a lot of people submitting food.
Ooh. Oh.
Like someone said pizza. Alex said food makes me happy. Cherry said, how about food? Lots of food.
Let's draw her. So Abby's favorite food is pastries, which is also my favorite food. So I'm gonna draw her with a little cupcake here. And then I'm also gonna draw her kind of like with kind of kicking her leg up. Oh, gotta draw the rest of her hair. And we're gonna draw these like happy signs around her because she's happy. So I think these are good. So if she's really happy, she'd be on a boat with like lots of pastries. So let me just draw some pastries right here. So let's draw some. I don't know if this is considered a pastry, but I do love bread. So I'm just gonna draw bread. And maybe some cake. Maybe we'll draw cake here.
She's like in a pool of pastries.
Yeah. You know, she's got a lot. And here's a cake.
So cute.
Happy. Let's draw another croissant because those are really good. Yeah, so normally I would draw more, but let's also draw her maybe with like a dog, because a lot of you suggested dogs. So, ooh, you know, I don't have as much practice drawing dogs because I spent so much time drawing cats. So let's see if I can make this look dog-like. Ooh, does that look like a dog? Let's pretend that looks like a dog, right?
That looks like a dog. Oh, it's looking sideways. It's looking to the right.
So this dog, here's a dog right here. So she's sailing on her boat with her dog and a whole boat full of pastries. That seems like something that would make you happy. So let's draw her in water.
Oh, that's so cute.
And so now we have like one thing to be happy of her being happy, but I think we need like a few more things. So you had so many suggestions, and a lot of them were based on like friends, spending time with friends and family, which I definitely agree with. So I want to include that in here because we want a lot of things to be making her happy right now. So I'm gonna to represent, because we don't have that much space. This is kind of a small paper, so I'm just gonna draw one person in each group to represent how happy she is, and maybe so. For her family member, I'm going to draw her brother Peter. So for those of you who have read the book, you know that Abby kind of has a complicated relationship with her brother Peter, because she thinks that Peter is like the golden child, and sometimes she hates being like kind of in Peter's shadow, which I think is very relatable for kids who are middle kids. You feel like you're always in their shadow. But actually, Peter is one of my favorite characters, and he's not as bad as Abby makes him out to be. And I think when you read the book, you'll see that she actually really loves him, because he's a really good brother. So there's Peter, and maybe Peter will have a dog too. So maybe we'll just draw another dog also from the side.
When we got your suggestions, we got lots of dogs.
Maybe Peter's dog will be like this, and he'll have like kind of like a wolf dog. And I will practice drawing dogs, I promise. And he's like walking, and maybe he has a poofy tail, because I had a dog with a poofy tail. So Peter has this like wolf dog, and he's gonna be on an island over here. And maybe she's rowing towards the island to hang out with her brother Peter. And so maybe over here we'll have another island, and so this is going to represent her like family. And let's draw a little heart.
So we have a few suggestions. Do you want to hear them?
Yes, let's hear it.
Whales, turtles, mermaids, dolphins.
Ooh, okay. I'm scared that I'm going to draw a dolphin, but it's going to look like a shark, and that's not happy. So I'm going to hold off on because I don't know how to, like, okay, maybe I can draw a dolphin out of, no.
This is real life. Real life practicing. This is what it looks like, friends.
Dolphin. We can make it into a fish instead. Dragon. I don't know. Okay, pretend that's the dolphin. Let's make her friend into a mermaid. So this is the family. We got to show friends. So I'm gonna let's have her friend as a mermaid. So we're gonna use her friend Maxine. Maxine is one of her closest friends. I think I'm choosing Maxine because Maxine has like braided hair, and that's really fun. And mermaids have pretty hair. That's like their little bow, and maybe she has like kind of from like Peter Pan, and she's smiling too because she's happy. Everyone's happy in this. So let's have her like little outfit that's like Ariel. So Maxine, just to clarify, Maxine is not actually a mermaid in the real books. This is this is just our favorite. There's her belly button, and then there's her tail, and here's the mermaid lower body. So while I'm drawing this, let's think, are there any other questions while I like kind of fill in the details for
So how did
mermaid
you come up with
body.
the frazzled stories?
I think they were really inspired by my middle school experiences. I kind of just went through my experiences and tried to figure out what was what I liked about my time in middle school, what I hated. And so one of the things I did like was like all the friends. So Abby has a really good group of friends. Even though she sometimes feels like they know what they're doing and she doesn't, they're really supportive. And same as her family. Like she has a really great family. And so I think a lot of the things that happen to Abby are things that happen to me. And so that's kind of where the whole Frazzled story kind of comes from, is figuring out what was good about middle school, what I want to talk about, what I want to explore. And here's
A cute question that we got from one of our Upstreet friends is, what you like big descriptive words. What is your favorite descriptive word?
my favorite descriptive word. I don't, I, I think, honestly, I don't know if frazzled is descriptive, but I do really love the word frazzled. I think that it is when I was trying to come up with um, the title, I originally it was the title was like My Diary of Impending Doom or something about impending doom, and it was a little bit too long. Though I guess the whole frazzled title is really quite long, um, but I think that like I was trying to figure out what she felt, and as you can see, Abby, she feels a lot of big emotions, and I didn't want to put like obviously stressed is not a cool word. And I think that stress is something that kind of happens, or stressed or worried is something that like those words have like kind of a little seem a bit negative, and they're often like reactive. So it's like you're stressed because of a test. And I think frazzled for me was a word that I felt like was more of less of a reaction and more of a like state of being. So it felt like the word frazzled felt like this is the word. And I think that frazzled is a kind of word that can express a lot of different emotions, or a lot of can manifest in a lot of different ways for different kids and different people. I think the way I look when I'm frazzled, the way I feel like when I'm frazzled isn't always the same as when other people are frazzled. And so I felt like there's a lot of different options for how you can be when you're frazzled. So I think descriptive words, I feel like for me that's very descriptive.
Yeah, you're right. The word frazzled does kind of encompass a lot of different emotions.
Mhm. Yeah.
What kind of tools do you need to start off with? Are pencils better than crayons or markers? What is your preference?
Ooh, I don't think there is a best tool. These are my tools. Just the pencil. I think that it's not about the tools you have. It's about like learning how to use them in a way that you enjoy. You know, like so. I use this pen. I just use regular pencil, and then I started using these pens called micron pens. I don't know if you can see them, um, but they're really just like there's nothing actually that fancy about them, other than the fact that they don't smear as much as some other ink pens. I used to use just this pen, but it's kind of smeared a bit when I would rub my hand on it, and this one doesn't smear as much. But other than that, there's not really much of a difference. I think that it's really just learning how to use it and being comfortable with it. So because I use these a lot, I think that I'm comfortable with it. But I'm always trying to like figure out new different types of materials, and like you see over here, I've got all my like color pencils that I'm using. I don't know if you can see them over there, color pencils. And here's some other things that I haven't really figured out how to use yet, but I'm trying. And I always also use like watercolors. I've been trying to practice with watercolors. So yeah, like I think it's all about figuring out how to make it work for you.
Somebody said, how did you go from blank slate to turning this into a career?
Ooh, that's really hard to fully explain, because I showed you I went from the like from drawing from this and my like very like early planners with stick figures to my like current planners which look like this. And this is over many years. And so like every year you see my style has changed and evolved and grown. And so actually one of the planners, when before Frazzled was even a thing, before I even knew I could be an artist or a writer, I was drawing in it, and I was being very dramatic, as you see I am. And I wrote in my planner, I live my life in a constant state of impending doom. And someone saw that and they thought that it would be a great book idea. And so then I kind of had to, I never thought seriously about actually writing a book or drawing in it. And so then I had to kind of consider, like, what is the story here? Who is this character who feels like impending doom, and what's her story? Yeah.
Okay, so there's two more questions. The last two questions. So what was more fun for you, writing the book or illustrating the book?
Oh, that's hard. I think it's hard to separate it because I actually like the illustrating part, but in order to get to the illustrating part, you kind of have to go through the writing part. I think that the actual the process of the drawing, I think, is the most fun part for me. But even in trying to figure out what you're going to draw, that part is kind of hard. I think anytime, whether you're writing or drawing, when you're starting from nothing, from like a blank slate, that's the time when it's like, what am I going to draw? What's my, like, you just have no idea. I think a lot of people experience writer's block, and I do too. And I think you can get drawing block where you're looking at a blank page and you're just like, what goes on this? So, but when it comes down to the actual like nitty gritty of like, am I typing on my computer or am I drawing? I think I like the drawing part the best. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then the last question is, what's next? What comes after Frazzled for you?
I am still trying to figure that out. I'm still working on some ideas and trying to figure out what like the next story I want to tell is. I think that for me, I always like operate from a place of like emotion. So I always realize like to use my art and my like storytelling to kind of explore different emotions. And so I think I got to think about it a little bit more and try and figure out what emotion I want to kind of unpack and process through, and who the character is that's going to be the best character to help me tell that story. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Not sure yet. We'll see. Stay tuned.
We're rooting for you, Booki. We love Frazzled, and they're so fun. We can't wait for whatever comes next. And actually, there was another kiddo who asked, do you have a YouTube channel? Is what they asked.
I do not have a YouTube channel. As you can see by my technical difficulties, I am not super video savvy. I do not have a TikTok. I think I've stuck to Instagram, and so I don't have a YouTube channel, but I do like to share my art and post about stuff on Instagram. So I guess find me there, but no YouTube channels. Though there are some videos of me doing like on YouTube, but
yes, her Instagram account is actually really fun. And if you're wanting to follow her on Instagram, it's at Booki. Is that correct?
Yes, you can follow me.
Yes.
Here?
At Booki. And if you have not gotten any of the 3 Frazzled books, they're all available on Amazon. So go check them out. They're super fun. I've even started reading them with Evelyn, who's only 3, and she thinks that they're fun. She loves looking at the pictures. And so go check that out on Amazon. And if you I know we have some raving fans on here who already have read her Frazzled books. Hop on Amazon and leave a review for her. And you can also check out, she has activity sheets that are super fun that you can get off of her website, and it's bookivivat.com. Is that correct?
And you can also go to your local bookstore. If, sometimes once we can all get out, and I think some local bookstores near you are probably also still selling books. So it's always good to support those local businesses. So you can check to see if they have Frazzled too.
Yeah. Is it true that you have frazzled in different languages?
I do. Do you want to see them? They're kind of fun.
Yes.
I'm gonna
That's incredible.
put it around because I'm like nervous that our sound will come out. Ooh, let me see if I can get the French one. I keep them on.
So I'll.
Okay.
Yes,
So this
we can
is the
see you.
French version. This is the French
So
version.
cute. So it's this one.
Well,
But in
that's
French.
actually the third, but they changed the color of the French version of the first book.
Oh, they did change the color. Okay, so that's the second one?
No, this is the first one. They just
Oh,
decided
that's
to
the
make.
first one.
But you see, it's in French. Yeah, so it's really
So
fun.
did you have to draw those?
I didn't. They helped me out, and they helped like translate it and everything. So
That is so cool.
I don't know French, but now I wish I did. And here is the Korean version. Totally different.
Yeah. How cute.
And then you can see it's all in Korean.
Oh my goodness, that is so cute.
So kind of fun.
Awesome.
It being translated.
Well, Booki, thank you so much for leading us through these drawing demonstrations and showing us how you express your emotions through art. Did you want to say anything? Last words to our Upstreet kiddos?
No, I just think that I want to encourage all of you to continue making art and figuring out how to draw out your emotions and how you're feeling. I think that just remember that it's just a lot about making the art and practicing a lot and figuring out what works for you. So definitely draw all your frazzled emotions. And if you want to tag me and send them to me so I can see them, I would love, love, love to see all the things you're making. So
That'd be super fun.
Say goodbye for now.
Awesome. Thank you, Booki. Bye, everyone.